Hey guys, so today's lecture is going to continue our discussion of the economic theory around prejudice and discrimination. And we're going to pick up by thinking more carefully about contexts in which employer-based discrimination, that is employer preferences for one group of workers over another, might not be eliminated by market competition. So to think about this, I want to start by kind of recapping the argument we made about why we expect employer-based discrimination, or I should really say employer-based prejudice, to not result in economic discrimination in the long run in a competitive market. And the idea was essentially that if two kinds of workers, black and white workers, or men and women, or any other two groups that you want to think about, don't actually have differences in productivity, then paying them differently or being less willing to hire one group or another is going to result in lower profits and thus drive businesses out of the marketplace. But if we think that there are actual productivity differences between two groups, then we'll conclude the exact opposite, that not reflecting those productivity differences in the way that workers are paid or promoted will have negative consequences for firms' profits, and therefore in a competitive marketplace, firms that fail to discriminate will be driven out of business. So we're going to think about this more carefully in three different models. We're going to start with a fairly simple model that we'll talk about in more detail and with some empirical evidence later of statistical discrimination. And this is basically examining the possibility that somebody's membership in a group, such as a gender or an ethnicity, could signal important information for their productivity that firms don't have direct access to. In the second two models, we're going to think about contexts where there's no actual underlying differences whatsoever between, say, racial groups or gender groups or other groups that might be the focus of discrimination, but where once prejudice has become established, once group membership starts to affect employers' decisions, that results in a game theory equilibrium that maintains discrimination. So essentially what we're doing today is we're laying out this counterpoint to the hopeful story that Becker told, right? Whereas Becker told a story of discrimination being impossible in the long run in a competitive market in the absence of real productivity differences. In this story, we're going to say, sure, that's true, but real productivity differences can be generated by discrimination, and as a result, we can find ourselves trapped in an equilibrium where marginalized workers remain marginalized because of market pressures. Okay, great. So thank you for sticking with me, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video.